Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, each one she passes goes ah. When she walks, she's like a samba that swings so cool and sways so gently that when she passes, each one she passes goes ah. Oh, but he watched her so sadly. How can he tell her he loves her? Yes, he would give his heart gladly. But each day when she walks to the sea, she looks straight ahead, not at him. Oh, but he sees her so sadly. How can he tell her he loves her? Yes, he would give his heart gladly. But each day when she walks to the sea, she looks straight ahead, not at me. Tall and tan and young, in love with a girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, she smiles, but she doesn't see. She just doesn't see. No, she doesn't see. But she doesn't see.
Oh, I'm such an idiot. Hi. Hello. How are you? Sorry. Okay, so um the women in Brazil, so hello, good evening, how the devil are you? Somebody doesn't know how to switch the sound on, so that's good, but I am 50, so I forgive myself. Anyway, in Brazil, in order to help the women and myself, Let Women Speak, put on the thing, and also put on the whole Let Women Speak, which is the first weekend of February in Rio de Janeiro. What we're doing is every time you buy one of these t-shirts, we're going to send one to them, but also they're going to sell them out in Brazil. But um, it's just for us to do anything. Our cost of living is so much higher, so it just makes it completely unaffordable. So I want to make sure that women in Brazil who have lost their voice and are losing their voices actually have a chance to speak and send a message. And so there's this, or there's also, where is it? Or there's also the definition of the word woman, also in Portuguese. And I am very, very pleased with this. I think it's going to be quite a magnificent event. Um, I I don't know enough about Brazil, but I do know that what you get is this fact layer. Trans activism is the same everywhere. And then on top of that, you have the complication of people's culture. So maybe our culture in the UK, certainly in England, where we've managed to hold it off, maybe our culture is cautious. Maybe we're a little more conservative for whatever reason. Maybe our politics is very stable. And so when trans activism came, whilst it still had this most incredible assault on us all, um, it's also tempered by our culture. Now, in countries where women already have a big fat struggle for rights, this thing just puts another sort of layer on top of it. So that's what we're talking about. So anyway, that's some of the things that we're doing. I shall remove these for a minute and let you listen to the woman herself. Mic is muted. This is from Women's Declaration International. It's from their channel, and they interviewed her quite some time ago, and so did Redux. 20. I think she's been scrutinized by feds and courts and politically persecuted for quite some time. But this interview is way back in 2022. The event is up. If you want to make a donation to make the event as safe as possible, and maybe even extend to ensuring that as many women in Brazil can come as possible, then the best thing you can do is donate, buy tickets, buy these garments, and also please like, share, and subscribe, and share this anywhere that you can. I mean, it's absolutely
And mostly, I talk about domestic violence online. That's what I do. I just started and I had no intentions of becoming a feminist icon or figure at any point in my life. It just happened because I was talking about something that no one was talking about. And I started talking about psychological violence against women in domestic violence context. And it just became huge. And since 2021, we have a new crime in Brazil, in Brazilian law, in our penal code, is the psychological violence against women exclusively. And yeah, that's pretty much what I do and what I talk about. I'm here to talk about my story with this guy who, for some reason, believes he's a woman. He's a politician from Brazil, and he was the most voted woman in the country in 2020. Well, his name is Felipe, aka Erica Hilton. And I'm going to talk about my case because now apparently I'm a criminal or something. At least that's what the São Paulo state think about me. So in 2020, this person was elected as the most voted woman for São Paulo's chamber, and also the most voted woman in the country. And actually also the only woman to make the list of the top 10 most voted candidates in the country in history. So he was the only woman in this list ever in the country's history. It's very important for our national politics and law in Brazil because it's probably the most stupid one. And because of that, the most serious one. I never heard of any case like my case. And of course, I know that in Brazil, as a radical feminist, I'm the most known radical feminist in the country. So of course, everything would come to my head, and these guys hate me because people are listening to me, and I'm pretty sure I make sense. So it happens a lot for a long time, but this was like the most absurd thing. And now some information for you, Anna. In Brazil, everyone is allowed to change their sex on their birth certificate, and there's no criteria. And you can choose, you can just put that your sex is non-binary in your birth certificate. So we don't have reliable data about feminicide or domestic violence or sexual violence anymore in the country. So yeah, for me personally, I would say this is a problem. And also in our law, and I'll talk a bit about it, the only kind of discrimination that is 100% legal in the country is misogyny. Is the only kind of discrimination that is not a crime. So things are wild in Brazil right now. And actually, what happens is that our Supreme Court equiparated transphobia to racism, which is one of the most horrible crimes we have in our penal code and in our law, of course, because of our history.
Okay, did you hear that? So, racism, the crime of racism, transphobia has been attached to the crime of racism, just in case you missed it.
Of slavery. But they just equiparated one thing to the other, but it wasn't like the right process, I would say. It's too complicated to explain in English, but in our law, there's no crime if there's not a previous law which would define it. So we don't have any laws defining transphobia. This means that transphobia is not a crime in Brazil. But I was charged with 5 counts of racism by São Paulo State for saying that the most voted woman in the country is a man. That was all I said. So, yeah, as I said, it's one of the most horrible crimes in our law. It has a special law, like we have our penal code and we have like a special law for racism. Again, because of our history, because we owe this to Black people in the country and they just equiparated it to transphobia because they understand this is a kind of social racism. And yeah, in Brazil, pretty much everything, I mean, I think it's everywhere, but in Brazil, really, it's completely out of control. And like everything is transphobia. If I say I'm a woman, I'm being transphobic. If I say I have my period, I'm being transphobic. If I say my name is Isabel, it's probably transphobic too, because it ends with an A. I don't know, like things are too much right now. And yeah, so basically, the whole process of turning transphobia into a crime in the country was completely illegal, and it breaks basic principles of our constitution. But people, yeah, these people from the left who are claiming to be fighting for saving democracy from Bolsonaro and stuff in the country, they apparently don't care at all. They don't care if we're breaking our own constitution. And yeah, so this person, Erica, Felipe, whatever.
Dave.
I use public toilets and I piss on the seat.
He started like a campaign years ago. So he would always post on Twitter and other social media that he was suing me. And also he was using the fact that was actually a lie, that he was suing 50 people. And he would pay for the documentation of vulnerable trans people with the money we would pay him because he just didn't like what we said. I don't know who are the other 49 people in this list because the only name he mentions is my name.
It's very strange. I think she's saying there that maybe he's not telling the truth, which would be totally against the code of all trans activists, because they are just the most truthful people on planet Earth, right?
So I'm not actually sure there are other 49 people. And actually, he never sued me, ever. It doesn't exist. So it's been years that I'm hearing like, oh, Erica Hilton suing Feminiza, Erica Hilton suing Feminiza, and this is actually not happening. Many people believe in it. And I learned about these charges pressed against me when a journalist from the biggest newspaper in the country came to talk to me and asked for my opinion on it. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about because I've never heard of it. The government and the state, they never gave me any documents. I have no access to this suit and these criminal charges. Yeah, until now. So it was in June. It was actually, that's an interesting part of the story. It was 2 days after my ex-boyfriend was convicted for violating the restraining order. So I was happy for 48 hours. And then it was too much for feminists. So I think they found a way to end it. And it was one day before we have the LGBT parade in São Paulo on June. And it's huge. So it was the day before that. And of course, it was part of the campaign for this politician who was elected again this year, last month, for the federal chamber. Now, I'm not sure about what happened after that because I just learned from these charges in this newspaper and I never heard of it again from anyone, like an official document or officer or public ministry member. So I'm not so sure if I would guess. This is a group, right? So this person, this politician, he's part of the human rights group in the chamber. And there's this other guy, the prosecutor.
Again, one of the first things a lot of these men did, a lot of these cross-dressing fetishists did, is they attached themselves to human rights. The pedophiles did it. They attached themselves to liberty. They attach themselves to sort of love and acceptance and all those things. That's what predatory people do. They position themselves in places where you can't get to them because your social kind of the way that you behave will prevent you from accusing that person because it's such a risk if you're wrong. So it's a very clever thing to do. That's what predators rely on. They rely on your social sort of politeness. They rely on you not saying anything. They rely on you feeling uncomfortable about stepping out and saying something. And so that's why you find loads of these people attaching themselves to all kinds of human rights. Including the European Court of Human Rights. Like it's just this place is absolutely riddled. I'm sure most human rights organizations have a disproportionate number of predatory arseholes in them. I definitely, I don't know that to be true. It just feels true. It just totally feels true. Look, I'm going to let Isa tell you more about it. We have a turf talk on Tuesday, 9:00 UK time. And I'm really sorry, but Chorley is cancelled. There's weather warnings everywhere. I Let Women Speak cannot be responsible for anyone traveling and getting in trouble. So Let Women Speak Chorley is completely cancelled, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. What else? Tuesday is we're going to talk about Brazil. We're going to have Isa come and talk to us on Turf Talk. You'll be able to join us on a Twitter space. I think it's just really important to hear because this was a couple of years ago. So now she knows what all the charges are. There's things that I know about it. I'm not 100% what I can share with you. So that'd be much better if she told you all about it and why we're going to Brazil. Every time you purchase one of the new T-shirts or hoodies, we send either a T-shirt or 2 T-shirts to Brazil so that the women there can really start these conversations. Because, look, no matter what you say, it's the conversations. It's the okay, so Matria, hello. So in the chat we have Matria, which is the Brazilian feminist group. She's been banned from X, but she'll be using Matria's account for the talk with KJK next Tuesday. I'm so excited. These women we are the constituency of women, right? We all, for whatever layers or culture or beliefs we might have, we are just all one constituency. And there's Portuguese in here as well. Well, bon dia, all of you. I'm hoping to get some better Portuguese before I go to Brazil. But anyway, that's it because I've got a crushing headache. I will see you next week. Sorry about Chorley. I'm absolutely devastated. Northern women seem to be so pig inactive. So we'll definitely be resuming that in the new year. But if you want to help us get to Brazil, and you want to make it as safe as possible for the women in Brazil to attend, then get yourself over to Let Women Speak store. Through your generosity, the last time I asked, I've booked the flights and the accommodation. So that's amazing. Now we want to make sure, because Issa is in hiding, so we need to make sure that, if we could afford to get a live link so she can have a screen, so she can talk to the women of Brazil. And let me just remind, then that's something that we would love to do. Also on the space, if you don't speak English, you are more than welcome to speak in Portuguese. You are more than welcome to use Portuguese hashtags. And also, if you want to come to Rio de Janeiro and speak, then we would really love to hear Portuguese and English speakers. If you can do both and you can translate your own speech, that would be amazing. But anyway, look, if you can just keep speaking the truth. I mean, God, if women in Brazil can do it, you can do it, right? And women in Afghanistan, they're not even allowed to speak. So you have to use your voice as much as humanly possible, ladies. Just crazy. Dare to be honest is what we say. If you can keep speaking as if your life or somebody else's may depend on it, then I promise we will win. If you can keep speaking up and keep us somehow moored to reality, then I promise we will win. And do you know why else we're going to win? Well, because I never
Maybe the sun gave me the power, for I
lose.
could walk Lomond and be home in half an hour. Maybe the air gave me the drive, for I'm all aglow and alive. What a day this has been, what a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's